straw hats! All hands on deck for a cast-off ceremony!
I'm gonna find the old blue.
I'm gonna be king of the pirates.
I'm gonna be the world's greatest swordsman.
I'm gonna draw a map of the world.
I'm gonna become a brave warrior of the sea!
This is it, crew? The Grand Line. Nothing's gonna stand in our way!
What if the real villain in One Piece was never a pirate, but the world itself? Do you know that everything that happened in Season 1 might have been a warning for what's coming next? Because when you look closely at Season 1 of One Piece, it doesn't just tell a story about a boy chasing treasure. It quietly sets up a collision between freedom and control. And if that pattern continues into Season 2, then the Grand Line isn't just a new location. It's a test designed to break belief. Season 1 looks simple. A cheerful pirate with a straw hat gathers a crew. They defeat enemies. They sail toward the horizon. But simplicity can be deceptive. Underneath the humor and the adventure, every arc was exploring the same idea from different angles. Control, who has it, who abuses it, who suffers under it, and who dares to reject it. Think about the structure of East Blue. Every major opponent controlled something. Buggy controlled fear through spectacle. Kuro controlled identity through deception. Don Krieg controlled through brute force and intimidation. Arlong controlled through racial dominance and trauma. None of these villains were random. Each one represented a version of power used to cage others. And what did Luffy do each time? He didn't try to take control for himself. He didn't replace the system with his own rule. He destroyed the cage and walked away. That's different. That's dangerous. Because someone who doesn't want power can't be negotiated with. Someone who only wants freedom can't be contained by traditional authority. The destruction of Arlong Park wasn't just a victory scene. It was symbolic. Arlong believed strength justified superiority. He believed the world was cruel, so cruelty was justified. Luffy rejected that logic entirely. He didn't argue with Arlong's worldview. He punched through it. When Arlong Park collapsed, it visually represented the collapse of a hierarchy built on fear. But that kind of disruption doesn't go unnoticed. Season 1 quietly introduced a bigger force watching from the shadows. The Marines. Smoker wasn't there by accident. He wasn't just another antagonist. He represented institutional justice. Not personal morality. Not empathy. Not nuance. Institutional justice sees pirates as criminals. It doesn't care about motives. It doesn't care about liberation. It cares about order. That creates a tension that hasn't fully exploded yet. Luffy doesn't see himself as evil, but the system will brand him as such. And once that label is applied, the world reacts accordingly. Now here's where it gets interesting. Season 1 was local. Villages, restaurants, small territories, personal conflicts. Season 2 moves into the Grand Line. And the Grand Line isn't local. It's political. It's strategic. It's layered with hidden agendas. Strength alone doesn't dominate there. Intelligence does. Organization does. Influence does. If Season 1 was about forming the crew, then logically Season 2 must be about testing the crew. Because the storytelling escalates. It doesn't repeat. In East Blue, Luffy's optimism always worked. He believed his friends, charged forward, and eventually won. But optimism in a small system is different from optimism in a global system. Once the Straw Hats enter the Grand Line, they aren't just random pirates anymore. They're variables. And powerful systems don't like unpredictable variables. There are organizations operating behind curtains in the Grand Line. Groups that don't rule openly like Arlong did. They manipulate kingdoms. They create conflicts. They destabilize regions quietly. That is a different level of threat. You can punch a tyrant. But how do you punch an invisible network? That shift changes the entire tone of the journey. In Season 1, the crew was united through shared victories. Zoro saw conviction in Luffy. Nami saw freedom. Sanji saw purpose. Usopp saw belonging. Their loyalty formed in moments where the enemy was clear and the solution was straightforward. But what happens when the enemy isn't obvious? What happens when the right decision isn't clear? What happens when saving one group might endanger another? Leadership becomes heavier. Responsibility becomes real. Luffy has always said he wants to be king of the pirates. But being king in his definition means being the freest person on the sea. The irony is that the closer he gets to that title, the less free he may become. Attention brings pressure. Reputation brings enemies. Influence brings consequences. Season 2 logically has to confront that irony. The Grand Line is infamous for breaking pirates. Not just physically, but mentally. It tests loyalty. It tests endurance. It tests identity. If the East Blue built the Straw Hats, the Grand Line will attempt to fracture them. And that's not pessimism. That's narrative structure. When stakes rise, cracks appear. Not because characters are weak, but because growth demands stress. Zoro will likely face opponents who expose the gap between ambition and reality. Nami may confront systems of exploitation that echo her past trauma, but on a larger scale. Usopp's courage will be measured against genuine terror rather than exaggerated fear. Sanji's morality may be pulled in different directions when innocence is caught between political conflicts. These aren't random possibilities. They are logical progressions. Season 1 glorified freedom. It showed liberation as triumphant and energizing. But long-term storytelling always explores the cost of that freedom. When you dismantle oppressive systems, you create power vacuums. When you disrupt control, those at the top react. That reaction is what Season 2 should explore. The world government hasn't fully stepped into the spotlight yet, but its presence lingers. It exists above pirates and marines. It represents stability at any cost. And stability often fears chaos more than it fears injustice. Luffy represents chaos. Not malicious chaos, but unpredictable freedom. And unpredictability is dangerous to structured authority. So imagine this progression. Season 1 asks whether freedom can defeat localized oppression. Season May 2nd asks whether freedom can survive systemic resistance. Because once the world starts seeing Luffy as more than a rookie pirate, everything shifts. Bounties increase. Attention sharpens. Threat levels rise. The Straw Hats won't just be sailing anymore. They'll be moving pieces in a global chessboard. And here's the subtle part. Season 2 doesn't need to become dark and hopeless, but it must become heavier. If the tone remains identical, the escalation won't feel authentic. Consequences must carry weight. Victories may require sacrifice. Trust may be tested. That tonal evolution mirrors the natural growth of any epic story. The first act builds dreams. The second act tests them. The Grand Line is essentially the second act of Luffy's journey. And beyond the story itself, there's another layer to consider. The live-action adaptation has already proven it can work globally. It reached audiences far beyond anime fans. That means Season 2 carries the responsibility of expanding the world without overwhelming new viewers. It must deepen the mythology while keeping emotional clarity, which suggests something important. Season May 2nd focus less on random spectacle and more on structured storytelling. Clear antagonists, political undertones, expanding lore, emotional stakes that resonate beyond flashy fights. Because longevity matters. And if renewal continues, then Season 2 becomes a bridge, not a climax. A bridge toward larger revelations. Mysteries may be introduced without resolution. Seeds may be planted quietly for future arcs. Characters may be hinted at rather than fully revealed. That's how sagas sustain momentum. Now step back and connect it all. Luffy entering the Grand Line at the end of Season 1 looked triumphant. It felt like the start of something epic. But narratively, celebration before escalation is a classic setup. Joy before pressure. Hope before strain. The ocean ahead isn't just wider. It's watching. Pirates will measure him. Marines will track him. Governments may calculate his influence. Allies may become liabilities. Enemies may become strategic. The question isn't whether Luffy will keep fighting. He will. The question is whether his simple belief in freedom can adapt without breaking. Because simplicity is powerful, but complexity tests simplicity. If Luffy refuses a compromise, the world may try to crush him. If he adapts too much, he risks losing the purity that defines him. That balance is delicate. That balance is dramatic. That balance is where Season 2 lives. And here's the thought that should linger. What if the Grand Line isn't designed to kill pirates? What if it's designed to expose who they truly are? If that's the case, then Season 2 won't just be about bigger enemies. It will be about identity under pressure, about belief under scrutiny, about whether freedom is an ideal that survives scaling. Because scaling changes everything. A dream in a small sea is inspiring. A dream in a global arena is threatening. So when Season 2 begins, don't just watch for action. Watch for reactions. Watch how the world shifts around the Straw Hats. Watch how institutions respond. Watch how the crew handles doubt, fear, and responsibility. The true battle may not be fists versus swords. It may be ideology versus structure. And if that collision happens the way logic suggests, then the Grand Line won't just expand the map. It will redefine the journey. If you enjoy thinking beyond the surface and exploring the logic beneath your favorite stories, make sure you subscribe to Cinelogic, like this video, and share it with someone who loves One Piece but hasn't looked at it this way. Because the more we question the structure, the deeper the story becomes. Now think carefully. If Season 1 proved that freedom can shatter a cage, will Season 2 prove that freedom can survive a world determined to rebuild it?